Hello again, I am Jim Bob. Welcome back to American Midwest. And having done all of our sort of planting, etc., last time out, this time we are going to be heading back up to the main animal area. We have all of that silage that needs to be prepared, so all the chaff that's in that bunker needs to be leveled and compacted. And then we have baling to do. So it's the afternoon that we have, a lot of work ahead of us. It's going to be, the conclusion of what's been an incredibly busy day for our farmer. What with all the seeding and cultivating we did last time out, as well as all that collecting as well, and the mowing that took place before the cameras were turned on as well. So, yeah, definitely a very, very busy day today. And it's time to get the second half of it done. So, let's just turn into our farm up here. We're going to be using our little champion tractor, our Case Puma, that we use so much. Oops. Took that a little hot there. So let's park up. So there's all that chaff. We need to get that sort of in there, leveled and compacted, so that we can get everything sorted out. We're going to use our leveler. There we go. I've never tried to do this in first person before, so this should be an interesting experience, but I think if I set my cruise control to something nice and manageable, this will be an interesting place to start at this kind of height and see how we get along. This is really weird doing this in first person. What I need to try and do is keep this nice and smooth if I can. This is such a weird experience doing this in cab. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this like this. I may well have to do this outside of the cab. It's so tricky not being able to actually see the blade from an external kind of viewpoint. I'm so used to doing it, outside. This feels completely alien to me doing it like this. It's making it really tricky to try and judge exactly what speed to go and how well I'm moving this product. I'm going to have to relent and do it like this. I can't do it any other way, unfortunately. But it was an interesting experiment, but I'm just not comfortable with it at all. This way I can actually see how the pile is forming. And I need to try and keep this nice and smooth if I can. It'll just make leveling everything easier like this. Once it's leveled, I then need to get it all compacted, and because I don't fancy hiring something like a 747 just to come in and compact a little bit of silage, and I don't have something that's going to be able to just spin on the spot, it means endless driving up and down to condense this all. This could take a long time to compact. So I will spare you the boredom of watching me just drive back and forth and back and forth and back and forth for the next half an hour or so that it's going to take me to get all this leveled and then compacted. So you'll see a few sort of transitional shots, but I'm going to just carry straight on with this, get everything as smooth and as level as I can, and then I'll check in with you in a little while. almost done. Just trying to get that last little bit of leveling done. As you can see, I'm at 99%, so practically there. This is me just kind of tinkering. There we go, we're at 100%. Briefly. Let's fold this up. And there we go, 100%. So let's jump out. Let's blanket the silo. And now we have 500,000 litres of silage fermenting away. So that'll be ready for us in around about 12 to 24 hours. I'm not entirely sure how long it'll take, but somewhere in that kind of region, I would imagine. I need somewhere better to store this because I'm going to need access to that butt rake a bit more. Let's put this here by the side of the pit. That'll do. Let's go clean up after the cows. I think they probably need it. Well, they're not too bad, but we might as well, seeing as we're here. Give them a quick spruce up. And then it's off to grab the baler and make our way over to the BGA and that L-shaped field with all that grass that's waiting to be baled up. They're going to make so many bales off that field, it's going to be ridiculous. So let's take the safety bumper off. Lower this down. It's looking good. It's just a tiny little spot there, I'm not worried about that. There we go. So that's the cows taken care of. And now it's time to go bale. So just put this back away here. There we go. Drop that off. Where is our baler? Straight behind us. That's handy. Gone for the green wrap this time around. I haven't used green before. And I will see you on the field. And here we are, and straight away we have a huge pile of grass waiting for us. You can see all these strips, and we have them going all the way around the corner as well. Let's make a start on this one. So first things first, need to lower the baler arm there, unfold the baler, turn the baler on, and I'm going to set a really slow cruise control speed of just 6 miles an hour, because this thing should, in theory, fill up really quickly. Well, there we go. Look how far we've gone, and already I'm getting the 1,000-litre warning beep. We've hardly driven anywhere at all, and already there's our first bale. That's just insane. Alright, let's slow it down even more. Let's go to just 3 miles an hour. And even at 3 miles an hour, look how fast that thing's shooting up. That's just crazy. So much grass. We're going to have so many bales on this field. It finished pretty much as the bale finished wrapping. That's just insane. Look how short the distance we've travelled between bales. Oh, this is going to take ages, and well, I don't think we're going to hit the bale limit, but we're certainly going to produce, I think, maybe more than 100 bales. This is an awful lot. I can't believe just how quickly we're filling this thing up, just crawling along at these speeds. It's so slow in cab. Look at us. You see in the mirror the back door opening up there. You see this trail of bales in the in the rear mirrors. Yeah, this could take an awful long time. So, while we're bailing, let's talk mods. I had a whole flurry of mods go live on Friday, sort of mid-afternoon, or at least mid-afternoon here in the UK. Some of which are apparently causing issues for some people. Now, I personally haven't had any issues whatsoever with the mods. Some people are complaining that it's crashing their system, blue screening the game, and so on and so forth. Problem is, because we are console users, we don't have access to error logs. So we can't point to any specific mod that's causing the conflict. All we know is that there is some kind of mod conflict, that is affecting some people. Doesn't necessarily mean that the mod that's just been installed is the problem. It could well be that it's conflicting with another mod, and it's that other mod that's causing the problem. And once that other mod goes, the conflict is gone. So I think it's a little unfair to single out some of the new stuff that's just gone live and just immediately say, oh, that's to blame, because it might not be. I mean, it's a symptom, it's not necessarily the cause. But anyway, let's have a look and see exactly what we did get on Friday. We had an old-fashioned tipper. This is actually a really cool little mod. There's not a lot of capacity to it, but it's a really versatile piece of equipment. It's too small for us on this farm, but it is a really, really nice little small trailer that you can configure to have different layouts, including opening up the flat side panels and turning it into a small bale trailer that can carry, I think, 8 square bales. So it's a really, really clever little trailer. We also had the cultivator Libuerto from Black Sheep. Now, quite a while back, several months ago, they released a 4.2 meter variant, and I loved it. Absolutely fantastic. This new one is a 6 meter cultivator and actually comes with 2 different options, brand new and old and worn. Also has the option of adding a light bar to the back, so that you can get rear hazard markings and rear lights on the cultivator as well, which is a nice feature. Just adds a little bit more option to it. We also got a gripping shovel. This is essentially a bucket that can be used with a front loader. Has a gripping fork at the front, or a gripping claw, I suppose would be the best way to describe it. It means you can use it to just scoop up pretty much anything as always, but you could also use it to grab a bale or even a log, something like that. So quite a universal little bucket. And I do say little because it isn't a huge capacity. It's only around 2,000 litre capacity. But it's a nice little piece of kit. Then again, it's a little bit too small for my liking personally. We also have a buck rake designed more for tractors than anything else. It's a decent little buck rake. I haven't used it myself yet, but I have installed it, and I will be giving it a sort of a run out at some point in the not too distant future. There was also the Kroger AgroLiner HKD pack. Now this is a really nice sort of trailer edition, and I do have those installed, although I don't think I have them installed on this particular series. Let's take a look, see if I have got them. No, I don't. They are installed on my system. I have looked at them and I have enjoyed them, and I will be using them on a different Let's Play, just not on this particular one. But they are 31,500 litres, I believe. Really nice AgroLiner trailers there. And we also got big bags, and initially I was really excited about the big bags. You know, seed bags that you could use for seed, fertilizer or pig food, and I was really excited about these because I thought these would have a really big capacity, and unfortunately they only have 800 litre capacity, which is not that big. And while the pig food and the fertilizer, it kind of works out slightly better to use the big bags. With seed, it actually works out more expensive, a lot more expensive. The seed pallets hold 1,000 litres and cost you $900 per pallet. The big bags hold 800 litres of seed and cost you $1,000. So you're paying $100 more for 200 litres of seed less. Doesn't really work out, which is a bit of a shame. I was really excited that we would get really big capacity, seed bags that we could stick on the back of a trailer and grab, 3, maybe even 4,000 litres of seed at a time. But unfortunately, as I say, they're only 800 litres. It's a nice start. Hopefully we'll get bigger big bags in the future. It would be really nice if we do, but for me it just feels a little bit like a wasted opportunity to give us something, as a really nice alternative to pallets as it is. I mean, they're great, they look great, and as far as I know, nobody's had any issues with them, but it's just they're so small, only 800 litre capacity. I just wish they were a bit bigger. But we also got some updates as well, including an update to this map, which is perhaps the most important of all of the updates that went live for me because of the Let's Play. Now, some things have changed. The biggest change is the farm silo. It's the Mustang Valley silo set, which on Mustang Valley has a capacity of 800,000 litres. On this, it only had the generic 100,000 litre capacity, which was way too small. I said that in my map tour, that it just wasn't enough storage capacity for a map of this size. With the fields of this size, it wouldn't be enough. And with so many silos dotted on the farm, it just seemed odd to only have 100,000 litres. Well, that's been fixed, and we now have the full 800,000 litre capacity that we should have had. It looks like it was just a little oversight there, and that has been corrected. We also have a change to the farm incinerator. This no longer accepts manure or wood chips, and now will only take grass, straw and hay. Again, I have heard a few people still complaining that it doesn't take loose, with a tipper, but it will take it loose if you use a bucket and tip in that way. I haven't tested it yet, so I can't comment either way, but obviously the plan was to sort of test that out with maybe a few bales. We'll see how that works out as we get to that point when we have straw to play about with. And there was also a change to the forage silo. There is now a second option, and this I can show you because obviously we have a forage silo installed. So if we go to placeables, you'll see that there is now a second forage silos. $25,000. I don't have the money to really kind of bring it out and show you, but essentially what it does is it adds a ramp to the area where you would normally tip, and instead of having that sort of little pipe that sticks out, you now have a trough on the ground which you kind of dip into, like unloading into a silo grate or a cell point. You have a grate on the floor on a slightly raised area. I think it's really slightly raised. It's not huge at all. But you now tip into that grate instead of into the pipe. Essentially, everything else is exactly the same. It's just a different delivery system when you're unloading to fill up the silo. So that's kind of the mod news from Friday. The biggest disappointment with the changes for this map is that the plough problem has not been fixed yet. So it will still show the grass texture over the top of the ploughing when you are trying to create fields or join fields together or just extend headlands. Any kind of plough work that you do, you'll still see the original grass kind of sticking up on the top. You'll see the ground texture change, and it will still work as a new field that you've created, but it will just have that grass sticking on the top of it, and it just doesn't look good. You know, I wouldn't be able to live with it, you know, if I tried to do it. So unfortunately, we're going to have to hold off on joining fields or extending headlands or making any kind of field modifications until that is corrected. Hopefully it won't require an update, or it won't require a restart on an update. This one didn't. This update that went live on Friday does not need a restart, and hopefully whichever one we get in the future which fixes that issue won't need a restart as well, but time will tell. So I've whittled on a little bit, as you can see, making a lot of bales. I'm going to carry on soldiering on, and I'll check in with you in a little while. So we're on the final stretch of this baling bonanza. I've been trying to tidy up as I go along, so at the end of each kind of pass I've been going back and picking up all those loose little bits that have been missed, making sure that I've picked the field completely clean wherever I can. And as you can see, made a lot of bales so far, all the way up there, all this as well, plus this entire row to go still. We haven't made any bales before, so I can actually find out quite quickly without the need to go back and count them all. Let's grab that little tuft there. I can find out quite easily how many bales we've actually created just by checking the statistics. It'll show us how many bales have been made. So really curious to see just how many we're going to end up with. It's got to be pushing 3 figures, if not more than that. It is an awful lot of bales. And the next step is then to get them all stacked on the side of the field. That's going to take a fair bit of work as well, so we're not done with this field completely just yet. Remember, we are going to be leaving these for 2 days to simulate the fermenting process before we can then move on and sell them. So we'll be building a big pile, probably up against the side fence just there. A nice long stack of bales. And we're going to use the Merlot Turbo Farmer for that. So getting ever closer to just completing this last line of grass here. There's so much money sitting on this field. I kind of want to just cheat a little bit and just sell a couple just to just to clear the bank balance. But I am committed to leaving these all for 2 days, so it's going to be a temptation, but it's one that we'll weather. We'll ride it out. Plus, it'll give me a good amount of time to kind of contemplate what to do with the amount of money that we make off this field as well. Like I said, each of these bales is going to be in the region of $1,900, I think, unless Shu has played around with the prices. I think a medium priced silage bale sells for around about $1,900 as kind of a standard base price. So a lot of money going to be sitting on this field, and it gives me time to kind of contemplate exactly what it is I need to spend it on. Obviously, I know I need that slurry tank. That's going to set me back $48,000. Beyond that, I'm trying to think if there's anything urgent that I need. I do need beet harvesting equipment, but I'm still undecided as to whether or not I'm going to lease that or whether I'm actually going to buy it. I'm probably just going to lease it. We also need some beet storage. Now we could use one of the hanger style placeables that I'm using on Mustang Valley. They hold 300,000 litres each. Or what I'm probably going to do is use the storage version of the Sail Point mod that we already have installed. Just in my stomach growling there. Sorry about that. Which holds 2 million litres. I checked earlier today just how much storage they have, and it's a whopping 2 million litres per placeable. So that is almost certainly going to be what we use, and I think that's it. We're just a little bit of grass short of making yet another bale. I don't really want to leave grass in the baler, but we can't make a part bale, I don't think, and I'm pretty sure I've collected every little scrap that's out there. I've been very thorough in my cleaning of the field, so there is a little bit of grass I think left on the field above White's Grains, next to between fields 4 and 6. So I'm going to take the baler over to there and see if I can find 100 litres worth of grass, and if not, I'll find a little bit of grass on another field somewhere as well. So I'm going to disappear and hunt that down, and then I will come back to you once that's done. Well, I've had to come all the way up to this top field up by the animals, but I have finally found that last little bit of grass. I've been too thorough. I've been too careful and picked everything clean, so just haven't been able to find any other grass anywhere else. I didn't want to have to break the mowers out just for a tiny little bit, but there we go. We have a completely empty baler. So we'll go and drop this bale off with the rest of them, and then take this all the way back to the farm that we're driving away from. And then once that's done, we'll pick up the Merlot Turbo Farmer, and then we'll start stacking all of those bales up. Give us a nice clean stack on the edge of the field, and we'll leave them sitting there for the next couple of days before we take them to the BGA and sell them. So equipment is cleaned and put away. Time to head back and pick up our Merlot Turbo Farmer. It's going to be easier to do it with that than it is with our Puma. Plus, it gives our Puma a bit of a break. Let's face it, we have kind of worked it into into the ground already. That thing has got so many hours on it already, and we're just a handful of episodes into our Let's Play. It's been very, very heavily used with all that mowing and collecting and tedding and rowing and baling. It's just, it's a trooper. It's such an amazing little tractor, the Puma. It's so versatile. I mean, for the price, $192,000, you get a tractor that can have, 220 horsepower, which can go up to 270. You can have all the different wheel options. You can have a front loader on it. You've got front and rear, 3-point harnesses. It's a wonderful piece of kit. It really is. So, park up here, slightly wonky, but doesn't really matter. Let's jump into our Turbo Farmer. And we want the folding bale spikes, I think. Oh, actually, no, we're going round bales on this one, so let's use the round bale grabbers. Oops. This would probably be a more appropriate choice. Although bale spikes might be easier. We'll use this. So beacons are on. And off we go to the BGA field. So here we are. Now the plan is just to kind of stack them up here out of the way on the edge of the field. So we'll start by dropping that one there. And this is where I think I might have made a mistake by bringing the bale tongs instead of the spikes. The spikes would make placing the first layer a lot easier, whereas these would be better for doing the next layer up. So I think I may have to go back. Yeah, this is going to be really, really tricky and awkward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop these just there. I'm going to go back and I'm going to get the spike. Bring that back so I can build the base layer, and then we'll use the tongs to build the upper layers. It's just going to work out a lot easier that way, I think. It's too. I'm not very good with using those grabbers, those kind of tongs, when it comes to building a lower level. I find them much easier for upper stacks, and generally when I use those, I tend to have them on an existing sort of stack from something like an auto stacker, where it builds up the stacks of bales, and then you can just grab two at a time by getting them sort of between the two bales and picking them up that way, and then using that to drop them into something else. I want to stack these sort of lying on the sides rather than standing up. So the bale spikes will give me more control on that, rather than kind of messing around with the tongs and having to drop the bales, or constantly knocking the ones I put down out of the way with the other bits. It's just going to be quicker and easier to do it this way, I think. So I'll grab the spikes and I will see you back on the field. So here we are back on the field, and this time I'm armed with my spikes. So now I can get in and I can spike the bale, and I can place it exactly where I want it. Just giving that bale a little nudge just to straighten her up, seeing as I knocked it a moment ago. And I've knocked it again. That's fine. Let's just making a mess of everything today. Let's try that again. That's the line that I want. So now that that one's in place, let's spike this one and position that up against it. Camera angle is not the easiest. Slightly off center. I want to get these opening bales in nice and tight, like that. Give it a slight lift. There we go. That's perfect. So now I just need to do that a bunch more times. And oh, how many bales do we actually have? We were going to look, weren't we? Created bales 92. So not quite 100, but not far off. 92 bales. So 92 bales at 1900. Let's try and do a quick bit of mental maths here. 1900 is an approximation of the value, so that's about $175,000. That's a lot of money. That's an awful lot of money. I'm looking forward to spending some of that. As I say, 48,000 of that is going on that Zunhammer slurry tank, so that effectively leaves us what, about 136,000, 137,000, something like that. It's quite a lot of money still. No, 127,000. Certainly a very nice, lump of cash. Most of that will probably just initially just pay off our loan debt. But it'd be nice to have some cash on hand as well. So if we say pay off 100 grand of our loan, and then the rest will keep as cash on hand in case we have any other purchases. Like I said, our cows are currently making us around $5,000 to $6,000 a day in profit against our daily expenses. So we are in a really healthy position right now, in the sense that I can afford to be with a negative bank balance like I am right now and not panic or rush to try and sell something. There's no urgency required in that. Which is always a blessing. So I'm going to carry on just sort of stacking these bales like this on the edge of the field, and you'll see some periodic progress, and then I will check in with you in a little while. So we have a stack of 30 bales just there. Just 62 more to go. This is going to take a little while longer yet. Just getting ready to complete the second stack of 30 here. And one thing I've been doing just to try and speed the process up a little bit is grabbing double bales, as you've seen. So just spike the first one, keep the forks down, drive up to the second one, spike it, and then I can lift up, and that way they stay pretty sort of pushed together. Nice and solid like that. It's making it a lot quicker. I'm obviously, you know, saving a trip each time by only doing two bales instead of just doing one at a time. And it's obviously allowing me to build these stacks a lot quicker as well. We have 11 on the bottom row, 10 in the middle, and 9 on the top for a total of 30 bales. And there we go. That's the second stack complete. So another one of those to go, and then 2 leftover bales after that. Well, we have a great demand at the Ferguson grain elevator for sugar beet. I don't think it's going to last. Unfortunately, our beets have only just gone in the ground, so by the time they reach stage 3, that great demand's going to be gone. But that's the second time it's done that to us already. 2 great demands before we even have crops to sell. Well, that's frustrating, but at the same time, it's kind of making me hope that this time is going to be a little bit more generous with the great demands. You know, we've not had much luck with them in the past on our Let's Play series. So if we've had 2 this early on, kind of potentially bodes well for the future. We'll have to see if we actually start getting demands once we have crops in storage. Last bale on the field. There we go. Just need to place this and then reposition the other 2. I dropped those off round the corner. I'm just going to stack those just off to the side. But, this is bale number 92. And you can see the other 2 that I just kind of dropped off there, just to get them out of the way. And that's it. We have our 3 stacks of 30 each. So let's just move these 2 out of the way. There we go. I'm just going to drop them just here. Decided that I'm going to get rid of those baled tongs. I just find it much easier to work with a spike. So we're going to sell those off. In fact, they're not worth that much, so I'm just going to sell them this way. Let's scroll through, find them. Where are they? There we go. You see, they're only worth £2 grand. Maybe an extra couple of hundred for selling them at the store, but not really worth a huge amount more. So the wrapped bale handler is gone. We can do everything we need to with these spikes, and they're absolutely fine for bales moving one at a time or in a pair. So yeah, that's it. We have stacked all of our bales. You can see it's taken us a while to deal with that field. It's just gone 4:15 in the afternoon now. So this thing is absolutely filthy. We need to take this to the pressure washer and get that cleaned off before we put it away. And that's pretty much it for the jobs that we needed to get done today. We've done all of the work that we had planned. Our silage is compacted and fermenting. Our silage bales are wrapped, fermenting, and stacked neatly at the side of the field. They'll be left there for the next couple of days, and then we'll collect them up on a trailer and carry them round into the BGA. We'll sell them in there, and that way we'll produce a whole load of digestate, as well as a nice tidy $175,000. So yeah, it's looking quite good so far. Our crops are growing in as well. Obviously, we've got 3 fields that are planted at the moment. So tomorrow we'll be starting work on fields 10 and 12. So they'll need to be cultivated and seeded with a cover crop. And then the day after that, they'll need to be cultivated. Whoops. Did not see him coming. They'll need to be cultivated to get that crop into the ground, and then an actual proper crop will need to be planted so we can start growing. We're going to be planting canola on field 10. Yes, canola on field 10, and then probably soybean on field 12. That's yet to be confirmed. May go with sunflower. So oops, that's our kind of task list for the next couple of days on the farm. And then once all that's done, then we'll be selling those bales. Also, of course, we've got that silage that's fermenting, which means in 24 hours time that'll be ready. In fact, maybe even less than 24 hours time, that'll be ready to actually start using. We don't have any straw. It's going to be a day or two before we have straw. Obviously, we've got a field of barley that is growing away. That's going to need a final stage of fertilisation, so once over with the weeder, just to get it up to stage 3, and then once it's done and harvested, we'll have the straw. Then we'll be able to make our TMR. But what I can do is feed some of that silage to the cows straight away, just to up their productivity. We should push them up to, I don't know, somewhere in the 80s. I think they're at 62% now. So adding that silage will push them up to 80 something, maybe even as high as 90%. So definitely something that we want to think about. Probably won't actually be quite that high. It's going to be somewhere, I think, in the 80s, because we're looking at TMR to push us up to, I think, 90%, and then the straw bedding will be the final 10% to get them all the way up to 100% productivity and all that extra lovely cash. So thanks for selling that bale wrapper, we are now $4,500 in debt, as opposed to $6,500 in debt, which means when our milk money goes through at midnight, we will be back in the black. This should just slot in there. There we go. Just had to get it at the right angle. Let's drop those there. Lower the boom. Back up, park up. Fantastic. So we'll take our truck back. We'll go park up outside the farmhouse, and it's an early finish for our farmer today. All that work that had to be done, but it's a pretty early finish. As you can see, we're getting out earlier in the day than I thought. I thought we'd be going for at least another hour, but we are done and dusted. So time to go put our feet up, have a nice cup of tea, put a bit of TV on, maybe a bit of YouTube, and see what's going on other people's farms. So that's the end of the episode. Thanks for watching. I'm Jim Bob, and I'll be back with another episode of American Midwest very soon.